What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video here on the Sports Master channel. Today's video, I'm going to recap round number 1 of the 2022 NFL Draft. I'm going to talk about who teams pick who in the 2022 NFL Draft, who was the first pick, and who was the first 32 picks in the draft. I'm also going to recap round 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 in the whole video. So make sure you guys like, subscribe with the bell so you guys get notified when I be going live when I be making a video for that. So starting off with the first pick of the 2022 NFL Draft, we had Travon Walker going to the Jacksonville Jaguars. He's a defensive end from the University of Georgia. Travon Walker is a very good defensive end. He's really good at, crashing the line of scrimmage, attacking, going for sacks. Jacksonville, really good pick. They're picking on Travon Walker. Then we had Aiden Hutchinson going to Detroit Lions from the University of Michigan, a defensive end. A very good pick for the Detroit Lions. They definitely needed a guy like Aiden Hutchinson to obviously crash the line of scrimmage. Then we have Derek Stingley Jr. from LSU, a defensive back from the Houston Texans. Then we have Sauce Gardner from the University of Cincinnati going to the New York Jets. Kayvon Thibodeaux from Oregon. Plays edge going to the New York Giants. We had Ike Okongwu from North Carolina State going to the Carolina Panthers. Evan Neal from the University of Alabama, offensive tackle from the New York Giants. We have wide receiver from USC going to the Atlanta Falcons. We have Drake London. We have Charles Cross from Mississippi State going to Seattle Seahawks. Garrett Wilson going to the New York Jets from Ohio State. Chris Olave going to New Orleans Saints from Ohio State. Jameson Williams from University of Alabama going to Detroit Lions, their second pick in the first round. Jordan Davis, a defensive tackle from Georgia, going to Philadelphia Eagles. Kyle Hamilton from Notre Dame going to the Baltimore Ravens. Kenya Green from Texas A&M going to the Houston Texans. Jahan Dotson from Penn State going to the Washington Commanders. Zion Johnson from Boston College going to Los Angeles Chargers. Treylon Burks from Arkansas going to Tennessee Titans. Penning from Northern Iowa going to New Orleans Saints. Kenny Pickett from Pittsburgh going to the Pittsburgh Steelers, a QB. They definitely needed a new QB. Trey McDuffie from the University of Washington going to the Kansas City Chiefs. Quay Walker from Georgia going to the Green Bay Packers. Kare Inlam from Florida going to the Buffalo Bills. Tyler Smith from Tulsa going to Dallas Cowboys. Tyler Linderbaum from Iowa going to the Baltimore Ravens. Jeremiah from Florida State going to the New York Jets. Lloyd from Utah going to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Devontae Wyatt from Georgia going to the Green Bay Packers. Cole from Tennessee going to New England. George from Purdue going to the Kansas City Chiefs. Daxton Hill from Michigan going to Cincinnati Bengals. And then Lewis Sin, the last pick in the first round from Georgia, going to the Minnesota Vikings. And that was the recap for round number 1. As we're hopping into round number 2 of the 2022 NFL Draft. This thing will load. We had Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're going to receive Logan Hall from Houston. Christian Watson from North Dakota State going to the Green Bay Packers. Roger McCreary from Auburn from Tennessee Titans. Breece Hall from Iowa State going to New York Jets. Jalen Prater from Baylor going to Houston, Texas. Arnold Ebiketie from Penn State going to Atlanta Falcons. Kyler Gordon from Washington going to Chicago Bears. Boyd Mafe from Minnesota going to the Seattle Seahawks. Kenneth Walker III from Michigan State going to Seattle. Andrew Booth from Clemson going to Minnesota. Dale Robinson from Kentucky going to New York Giants. John from Alabama going to the Houston Texans. David Ojabo, an edge from Michigan for the Baltimore Ravens. Joshua Paschal from Kentucky going to Detroit Lions. We have Mathis from Alabama going to the Washington Commanders. Jaquan Brisker from Penn State going to Chicago Bears. Alante Taylor from Tennessee going to New Orleans Saints. Tyquan Thornton from Baylor from the New England Patriots. Cam Jurgens from Nebraska going to Eagles. George Pickens from Georgia going to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Alec Pierce from Cincinnati going to the Indianapolis Colts. Sky Moore from Western Michigan going to Kansas City. Trey McBride from Colorado State going to Arizona. Sam Williams from Mississippi going to Dallas. Luke from Central Michigan going to Tampa Bay. Troy Anderson from Montana State going to Atlanta. And Ingram from LSU going to Minnesota. Cam Taylor-Britt from Nebraska going to Cincinnati. Drake Jackson from USC going to San Francisco. We have Brian Cook from Cincinnati going to Kansas City. James Cook from Georgia going to Buffalo. And then we have Nick Bonito from Oklahoma going to the Denver Broncos for that 64th pick of the second round. As the last round we're going to do for part number 1 of the draft will be round number 3, and then part 2 of the NFL draft will be round 4, 5, 6, and round 7. As the 65th pick, we had Luke Fortner from Kentucky going to Jacksonville. We had Brian from Oklahoma going to Minnesota. Joshua from North Carolina going to the New York Giants. Martin from Mississippi State going to Cleveland Browns. Nicholas from Ohio State going to Tennessee. Chad from Wyoming going to Jacksonville. Villas from Tennessee going to Chicago. Abraham from Washington going to Seattle. Jelani from Virginia going to Indianapolis. Desmond from Cincinnati going to Atlanta. Christian from Alabama going to Houston. Travis from Connecticut going to Baltimore. Barhard from Central Michigan going to Indianapolis. Alex from UAB going to Cleveland. JT from Baylor going to Los Angeles. Greg from UCLA going to Denver. Gordell from LSU going to New York. We have D'Angelo from Western Kentucky going to Atlanta. Nakobe from Georgia going to Philadelphia. DeMarvin Leo from Texas A&M going to Pittsburgh. Marcus Jones from Houston going to New England. Malik from Liberty going to Tennessee. Cameron from San Diego State going to Arizona. Jalen from South Alabama going to Dallas. Terrell from Baylor going to Buffalo. Dylan from Memphis going to Las Vegas. Rashad from Arizona State going to Tampa Bay. Shaw from UCLA going to Green Bay. Tyron Davis Price from LSU going to San Francisco. Matt from Mississippi going to Carolina. Zachary Carter from Florida going to Cincinnati. Nick Cross from Maryland going to Indianapolis. Joseph from Illinois going to Detroit. Brian from Alabama going to Washington. David Bell from Purdue going to Cleveland. Majai from Cincinnati going to Arizona. Jeremy from Ohio State going to the Jets. Channing from Georgia going to Miami. Leo from Wisconsin going to Kansas. Logan from Wisconsin going to Los Angeles Rams. And then we have Danny Gray. Danny Gray from SMU going to the San Francisco 49ers for the 105th pick in the 2022 NFL Draft to conclude round number 3 of this draft. So that was part 1 of the 2022 NFL Draft recap. I will be making a video for part number 2 for round 4, 5, 6, and 7 on the channel. So make sure to like, share, and I'll see y'all in a little bit. Peace.